On this episode, we're restoring the doors. Okay, so we're going to try pulling this hard top off to see what the condition is underneath here, as well as possibly maybe trial fit the soft top that came with it to see if we're missing any parts or if it's even the right soft top for this Jeep. So we've had some camera difficulties. As you may notice, top is now painted. I'll go over quickly how we did that, but needless to say, the camera malfunctioned and we did not capture that footage. So what I ended up doing is painting it with some trem-clad rust paint. I'll grab that can and show you what I used. Okay, yeah, so here's the paint that I used. It's just trem-clad semi-gloss paint. I did spray it with my spray gun and the air compressor. I thinned it 3-to-1 with mineral spirits, and it seemed to spray really nice. Hopefully it turns out okay. I'm not 100% sure whether I think this is still too glossy or not, but Kennedy likes it, so that's all that really matters. You can see we did kind of a quickie job on the masking. I'll grab the camera and show you that. As you saw from the limited footage that we were able to recover, we removed the hard top, we moved it onto the lawn, cleaned it really well, and then that's where we sprayed it. So it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. So let's take a look. Okay, so here you can see a little bit further up close. It turned out pretty good. It's fairly easy to paint because there's a bit of texture to the top anyways, so you don't have to worry too much about orange peel or anything like that. It does show a bit more of the, there's a few little nicks and things in the top itself, just from being, I guess, set down and things like that onto the ground, like sort of, you can see in the back corner here. But that doesn't really affect the way that it works at all. We're happy with how it turned out, and yeah, I think that should do the job. So let's move on to something else. Okay, so the next thing we're going to work on is restoring these doors. There's a little bit of damage on the outside. There's a bit of a crack coming through here. There's some damage here, but most of the damage is on the inside of the doors here. So we've got the fairly common crack that happens here. Somebody has welded up this a bit. We'll probably touch this up a bit and make it look a little better. And we're going to do a little bit of reinforcing to prevent this crack from returning. So let's get started. Okay, so I got started. I removed the window crank and the door pull here, which is just a couple of Allen bolts to remove. The next thing to do is to remove the door card itself. There's like some, I guess they're called Christmas trees, plastic Christmas trees that are basically screwed into the door card and then just pushed through into holes in the door. It's a really good idea to use the proper tool here because the door card is basically just made of cardboard. And if you don't use the right tool, you can damage the door card itself. So you need to basically just pull this back so you can identify where those little clips are, and then get in behind them so that you're pulling them out and not just pulling on the card, because otherwise it can cause some damage. So that's what I'm doing next. Okay, so I got the door card off. You can see there's a bit of water damage in this lower corner here, and one of these little plugs has actually been pulled through previously, but the rest of them all came through quite easily. You can see the holes here in the door that they snap into, and yeah, that wasn't too bad. They're fairly easy to see where they are if you just kind of pull back the door card a little bit. But basically you can see this one and this is how they just kind of screw into the holes there. Is the way that they're supposed to work. So I'll see if I can repair this a bit, but not too worried about it. So here you can see that they've got the plastic moisture barrier on there. That's easily to remove, and then we'll move on to the next step. I removed the weather strip along the top of the door here. It's just held in with like 4 little clips on each side. The inner one I should be able to hopefully reuse. This outer one is pretty badly cracked and it's kind of falling apart, so I'll probably be replacing these. They're a little bit tricky, but you just need to use a screwdriver or a kind of a plastic trim tool, kind of get in there between the door and the weather strip and just kind of pop them out. So the next step is I'm going to remove this vent window. So there is screws kind of running along the outside of the door here that I am going to remove. I think they are just a Phillips screw head. Let's see here, yeah. So that's what I'm going to do next. Sometimes they can be a little tricky. I'm going to try to do it with the door on, but if that doesn't work, I may have to take the door off. So we'll give it a whirl. Okay, so after you have these screws removed, we need to pull down this weather strip just a bit, which is going to allow us to tip the window down. There's one last screw here, it's a large Phillips, and I'll remove that, and then basically I'll try to finagle this to get it out. So. Okay, so once you get the vent window out, this the actual regular window is just basically on the regulator there, so it's easily kind of just roll it all the way down, and by tipping it you can slide the roller out of the channel there, and it's just a matter of tipping the window and kind of working it out. It's not a very challenging, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Just be sure not to put any pressure on the window because you could accidentally break it, but it wasn't very difficult. So next up I'm going to start disassembling the door latches. Okay, so I've got the latch removed, the lock cylinder removed. I've got basically everything removed out of the door now, except for the window regulator itself, which it's working fine. It doesn't look that dirty, so I'm just going to leave it in there because I'm basically just going to be doing repair here, probably just respraying the top part of the door here, so I don't really need to remove it, and then I just got to store it somewhere. So that's pretty much everything removed now. The only other thing is basically to start on the repairs. Okay, so now I've got the door off, basically disassembled. The first, hopefully minor repair I'm going to do is the door stop. One of the bolts was broken off in here when we received the Jeep. So I'm going to try and drill that out, and that should hopefully go smoothly, but you never know. So I'm going to start by drilling it out, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, so drilling it out didn't work. I broke the drill bit, so I decided I would just move on to welding a nut to it. And at first you don't succeed, keep trying, because the second time I did it, it worked. I was able to get it out no problem. So, job number one's done. Here's the little piece that came out. There's the little nut that I soldered or welded to it. And yeah, so that's done. So let's move on to working on repairing these cracks up here. Okay, so you can see I've cleaned off the crack here. What I'm going to do is now just kind of open it up a bit so I can get this all aligned correctly, and then I can weld it back together smooth. So these are pretty much welded up now. They still need a little bit of more smoothed out with the grinder, a little bit of body filler just to make it look good as new. While I've got this set up like this, I'm also just going to run a bead of weld just along here. That'll help prevent any water from running down inside the doors, which can cause some rust issues. So I'm just going to, I pulled back the door seal so I don't melt that, and then I'm just going to run a quick bead along here just to seal this up and make it a little more solid. So. Okay, so moving on to the next part is where this window frame attaches to the other side of the door by where the door handle would be. I don't know what's going on here. This is more of an unusual repair that's needed to be done. You can see, I think it's probably started to separate and someone's put a screw in here and it's all cracked. So I'm gonna pull the screw out, we'll remove the paint here, see what's underneath, and then I'm going to weld this all together as well. Just to, like I said before, to prevent that water from getting in there and creating any rust. So. Okay, so just a quick update here. Did a little bit more than I wanted. There was some kind of cracking in the paint just coming around this where the lock cylinder goes. So when I took it down, there was a fair bit of Bondo in here as well. So I don't know if somebody tried to break into it or something at one point, but there was a bit of a crack, so I just welded that up. I welded these cracks up here, welded along the door skin to the window channel, and now I'm just gonna grind it down, check, see if there's any places that I missed, and then that should be pretty good for the repairs, and then we'll move on to the reinforcement. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to weld in a piece of 1/2-inch angle iron, basically inside the door here. That's going to reinforce this so that these cracks don't happen again. What I've done is I've notched them just so that these leave room for the window seals to clip in to where they normally do in the door without any interference. And then this rod will just kind of fit inside here like this and should give it nice support along here. The next thing I'm going to do is basically I'm going to drill a few holes along here just so that I can spot weld it in, and that should secure it, and so we could have many years with crack-free doors. Okay, so that's got majority of the repairs done on this door now. Obviously it still needs to kind of go through the regular body work when we get ready for paint, but you can see here, this is where the major crack was. I did a little bit of body filler there, as you saw, and then just a light coat of self-etching primer, just because I'm not sure when I'm going to get to paint this. I also did see the corners here. You can see the body work has basically been done there to smooth that out. And on this side, this kind of joint has been body worked as well. It's looking good, as well as this corner over here. There was a slight crack right here, which was filled as well. And yeah, I think it's looking good. So we'll see what's next from there. So that's where we're gonna end this video. I still gotta do the other door, but I just ran out of time today, so that'll probably happen next episode. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time on Analog Generation.